Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be trimming down my asparagus for winter, and I'm going to be cutting down the shoots. I'm going to be ripping all of the weeds away. I'm also going to be putting down some leaves as a mulch, and I'm also going to put some straw that I used for my garlic on top of it also for winter, because it needs something. Even though I live in the south, I don't need a ton because we don't get really extreme weather for winter down here, but it still needs to be covered. So we're gonna get to it. Excuse the way my garden looks, guys. It looks like a hot mess, but it's the end of the season. That's normal. You see all my garlic? They're doing great. So here's my asparagus bed. I did plant this year, so it's going to be a while for me to harvest this, but I do want the crowns to grow as big as possible so I can get big harvests. Not next year, but the year after. I might start harvesting, it depends. Now you see how they bush out like a fern? Okay. So I didn't cut these at all this year, and this one's a little green still. You can see the rest are this yellow color, yellowish color. Now they tell you, because I've never grown asparagus before. This is my first year. Not afraid to say that. But this is my first year, so I've researched and researched and researched, and honestly, everyone has their own method of doing this for their asparagus, putting it to sleep for the winter. So I'm just going to do it my own way. Now, one thing that was consistent through everybody's thing is that you need to get the weeds away from your asparagus. I did not do that this year. There are weeds all in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down the crowns, and once I cut down the crowns, I'm going to pull all the weeds because it doesn't like competition. And I should have taken care of that earlier this year, but I did not. So I'm going to pull the weeds once I cut down the crowns, and then I'm going to mulch it on top with the mulch that I have that's available, which is I'm going to use leaves because it's fall time and we have a ton of leaves. And then I'm going to also use straw from when I did my garlic. Look at that. Would you look at that? Look at that. You see that? I don't know how that happened, but that's a potato. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. See that little baby potato? Huh. You can't stay there. I'm sorry. My garlic needs to grow beautiful. Now you have to remember, asparagus is a perennial, so it will come back every year. And it should come back in all the zones, okay? But all the zones have a different way of doing it. I saw some of the people who lived up north, they didn't cut it back at all until it was completely brown in the spring. But people who live in the south, we get warmer temperatures, and we're going to have to cut ours back because we have to force ours into dormancy. And dormancy is when all the roots and stuff grow for winter, so we need to put it into dormancy. We can't just leave it like this because sometimes it will still keep growing, especially in the south. But we're just going to cut all these down and get it ready. If you learn anything from this video, me, myself included, don't let the weeds grow up around your asparagus. It is a nightmare to take them out, and try not to rip out your asparagus at the same time. And you'll have the bees attacking you because bees made their home in your asparagus because you let it overgrow. Don't do what I do. Okay, you can see I'm not even done with weeding this bed. Okay, but you can see the little round asparagus crown. So that's how I know where the asparagus is. See? It doesn't even look like the weeds. You can tell this one's the weed, which is crabgrass. I hate crabgrass. If I could eradicate one thing from everybody's garden, it would be crabgrass, because it's the worst. It's a demon. Sent by the demons, I'm telling you. But if you did do this like me, be careful, because you can see that is actually the root of one of the crowns. I'm going to cover this all back up. Try not to disturb the crowns as much as I can, but I have definitely learned from this mistake. That's how you learn. You try, you make mistakes, you do it better next time. That's how it goes. But keep going. If you let it grow around, I'm going to keep digging out this, and then I'm going to push the dirt back over it. All right, here's my little asparagus mound. I got all the weeds out of it. Now I'm going to put some leaves and then some straw on top just for winter. Now I saw some people actually put bone meal on it, but I'm not going to fertilize it right before winter. I want it to go to sleep. I don't want it to try to feed. So I'm not going to do that. I'll do that in the spring. I'll move everything away from the base, and then I'll put some bone meal and some fertilizer in there and water it in really good. But right now I want it to go to sleep, because I definitely want these to become really, really huge and really big next year. I want the roots to grow over winter. And the only positive side, the only upside of me having to rip all of the weeds out is I didn't see any asparagus beetles. Doesn't mean they're not there, but I didn't see any, and I disturbed the dirt really good, because if you don't cut it down, you don't do anything to it, the asparagus beetles can overwinter with your asparagus, and you don't want that. All right, leaves, straw on top. Some people use newspaper and then they put down some type of mulch. I will put some compost down in the spring. I don't think it really needs it right now. It's going to sleep. It's not trying to feed and grow, so it's not a big deal. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of compost or other stuff just to put, things to sleep for the winter. But I mean, use what you got. I have an abundance of leaves. Leaves are great compost. You can break them down. Also, you can put them in the beds. You can put them in if you have raised beds, or even in just in-ground beds, and you can till them in. It's a great nutrient. A lot of people think leaves are a nuisance and that they have to bag them up and get rid of them, but you're getting rid of a lot of nutrients when you do that, because if you just chop them up and let them stay on your lawn, or chop them up and put them in your garden and the beds and stuff, you're giving it nutrients back. So don't think of leaves as a nuisance. because they are a great source of nutrients for a lot of stuff, and it can be broken down into compost. So I'll see you guys next time.